Let's talk about the difference between B2B and B2C in customer discovery and problem space validation. They're actually the same process, but they feel so different. Speaking from personal experience, my first app, Gumdrop, was targeting university students, and 10exit was targeting developers in companies, corporations, enterprises, and startups. So there are two very different type of people that we're targeting here. And let's first talk about B2C. B2C, there's things you need to be cautious about. One is that you got to take a proactive role and be disciplined in interviewing these people, because people are not going to tell you what is going on in B2C. There's just way too many of them, and they're not going to care giving you feedback. Just think about Uber. If something goes wrong with Uber, I personally wouldn't report it, and if it's some other app that is less significant compared to Uber, I would definitely not report it. I'm not going to talk to the PM about the problems that I'm experiencing on that platform. And the second problem with B2C is that you got to be really cautious in interviewing and getting the right answer. You got to ask the right question. It's not necessarily these people are going to lie to you, but they don't have a good answer sometimes. When I was doing Gumdrop, I would interview people and I would ask them, why are they on these platforms? What are their purposes? A lot of times the purpose is really just to hook up. But people is not going to tell you that they're just there to hook up. They're going to tell you something like, oh, I'm just going to go with the flow. And to them, it's not necessarily they're lying. It's just they think they're going with the flow. But really, statistically, it turned out that they did more hookup than really just going with the flow, right? Because going with the flow is not an answer, to be honest. It doesn't really tell me if you're really there to hook up or if you're really more seriously trying to date people, right? So B2C, there's a lot of those vague answers that you got to be cautious about, as well as the way you ask questions. Don't ask people stuff like, how many times do you how many times do you eat a day? You ask them, how many times did you eat yesterday? Did you eat your breakfast? Did you eat your lunch? Did you eat your dinner? Right? Because people tends to give you bad, unreliable answers in B2C settings. But B2B is different. B2B is more reliable in the way where people tell you things. B2B, people tends to know exactly what they wanted. They'll come tell you, they say, hey, Kango, you don't have this feature, therefore, we can't support it. Now you know. One person tells you something's not working, and the more prospects are telling you, oh, the same problem, I can't support it because of the same problem, then you probably should build that feature or solve that particular problem. But the thing about B2B, problem space validation and customer discovery, you got to be extremely careful about it. So you got to be okay with walking away from different deals. A lot of times with the B2B, we tend to think, oh man, this is such a big deal, and I don't just want to walk away from it. And you really you only got one customer telling you that they want a certain feature, or two, but not many, right? And you ended up spending a lot of times talking to this one or two customer and building a particular feature, spending a lot of time on building a feature just for these people. They're not really for the people that you're targeting overall, right? That's a pitfall that a lot of B2B founders that falls into, and I myself have fall into that category before, as well as B2B founders got to be very careful at consulting people. Of course, when you first started, do it for free, like that's fine. But if you have the knowledge, you've done it for a while, and there's really knowledge that people pays money for, you got to be careful. Sometimes people would pay you a little bit for the product and get you a whole bunch of consultation hours. That's just not good. So there's pros and cons with B2C and B2B in customer validation, customer discovery, and problem space validation. You just got to be careful with the pitfalls that comes with different type of business. But overall, there's pros and cons, and just be aware of them. Good luck, guys.